Hey guys, welcome back and thank you so much for watching yet another Sims 4 speed build. So today I'm doing something a little different because I'm building a restaurant in the new world we got with the new Snowy Escape expansion pack. So I really thought that this world needed a little bit of a sushi restaurant or Japanese restaurant kind of deal. So this is in like the more modern end of the new world we got, like Mount gosh, I'm not even gonna try, but it's such a beautiful world, as you'll see in the tour at the end of this video. But yeah, I just had a whole lot of fun building this one. So the main packs that I use for this is mainly like, of course, Snowy Escape. I tried to limit it as much as I could to Snowy Escape and Dine Out. There might be a few other packs here and there, but those are the main ones I tried to filter for. And I really liked the combo of those two items, and of course we got a bunch of new fun food items like ramen and stuff like that, so we definitely needed to have a restaurant here. So I'm building in this lot that came with like a karaoke bar, because I just felt like, you know, if you have Dine Out, that this would be a really fun option to have here in the Snowy Escape world for all of the tourists, you know, and all of that, just so they could fully dive into the cuisine. And I wanted this restaurant to feel Japanese, but a little bit more like modern Japanese restaurant. So I gave them like a few, like the koi ponds in the front, but then a few Zen gardens also. So there's gonna be a small Zen garden in the front of the restaurant. I add one in the back of the restaurant, and then I end up adding one inside the restaurant as well, kind of like as a feature setting. Like, so everywhere you sit, basically in this restaurant has a nice Zen garden view. Whether it's inside or out on the patio right there, you got a view. And so yeah, I really liked that. Tried to, like I said, carry the vibe throughout, to kind of like modernize the Japanese feel, but still give them like the authentic food and stuff. So I tried to use as much as I could, like I said, from the Snowy Escape pack, but I just felt like the traditional Japanese walls and roofing was a little too much for this restaurant. Like, I love those new wall swatches with the beams and stuff that you customize, and the roofs, like the traditional Japanese roofing, but I just felt like once I tried it, I don't think I even left it in the video. I just cut to me doing like this half wall of a roof, which I really liked a lot more for the restaurant because otherwise it just kind of felt like a house. So this is what I ended up doing, like how it turned out. The color scheme is very like, you know, woods, dark woods, a little bit of the natural wood, and then lots of blacks and white. So felt like that helped with the modern vibe. But here I am. I already did a lot while I was talking. So built the whole outside of the restaurant, started most of the landscaping, and now I'm just trying to figure out the branding for the restaurant, like what our logo is going to be. I really like all of the, of course, Japanese typography, not sure the word there, so I'm basically just pulling anything that has that, just so I can get the branding feel and see like how over the top I want to go with all of those Japanese scripts. So I ended up toning it down a little bit and just give them a plain black awning right there at the entrance, and then I think, yeah, I swap out that circular logo, but I move it to that side of the left side of the restaurant so that it's like huge from that side. So basically from any angle you can tell that it's a restaurant, and which is nice because there to the left of this lot there's like that nice park that you can just stroll through. So basically when you're taking a stroll in that park, you can see like, oh hey, that's the restaurant right there, and jump in there and, you know, enjoy some nice Japanese food. So yes, that's what we did there. And here I am just figuring out the front part here because I wasn't totally happy with it. Originally, I was hoping that I could make like a floating restaurant basically, so like the pond underneath the foundation. That's why I chose the new stilt foundation we got with the pack, but you know, of course that wouldn't be functional, so it didn't let me do that. I should have known better, but anyways, I just basically did as much of a pond that I could with the space that it allowed, because I didn't want to like change the amount of flooring or anything because I already figured out the layout ahead of time. So I worked with it, and yeah, instead I did the Zen gardens and to fill in the empty space, and I like how it turned out. So here I am just adding those lanterns all around to frame the pathway. So it looks really, really good at night. I went around and added some more lighting all around the building, but I think I cut that part out because it was just spinning all over the place. But anyways, it looks really, really nice at night and just enhances like all of the Zen garden features, draws more attention to it. So here I am working on the patio seating area, and as I play tested this, I realized that those new tables we got, like Japanese tables we got, I'm not sure the word for them, so forgive me. And I love them, they're so much fun, and you can like put a hot pot in the center and then just serve yourself and a group of people. So much fun. But I realized that, you know, of course, because it came with the Snowy Escape pack and not the Dine Out pack, that it's not like totally fully functional, like not connected to the restaurant feature of the game. So I ended up just saving it for one of the side rooms, basically like you could reserve it ahead of time kind of deal. But really you can't. You could just, but like basically the owners can eat there anytime, and anybody really can eat there, but it's just not connected to the actual restaurant feature. So I figured we only needed one of those tables just to tie that whole feature in, but yeah, to maximize the restaurant serving tables as much as possible. So at the end of the video, I swap those tables out for the regular tables, so you'll see me do that later. But here I am just adding more lighting. Felt like there needed to be some string lights here. I tried to use the Japanese ones, but it was just a little much. So I went for that subtle string lights and figured out how to line them up nicely without them sticking into the walls. There we go. So that was that. I'm basically done on the outside and moving on to the rest of the interior and figuring out the walls. So like I said, I really like those traditional walls, and I wasn't sure like how traditional yet I wanted to go because it still looks pretty modern right here with the black flooring and the white and natural wood walls. It was just, I don't know, I changed it. I kept it the same for like the entrance and the seating area, like the waiting area, but I wanted this side, the dining area, to feel more like separate, like you know that you're dining in there, like that's the dining space and that's the waiting space. So that's what I ended up doing, just to have the best of both worlds. So yeah, I like how that turned out. So this area right here is the restrooms. There's gonna be two separate restrooms, one for the ladies, one for the men, and the toilets are in their own separate toilet rooms inside there. So there's 3 toilets here. So no long lines there, and then the waiting room is going to be right outside of the restroom, so very nice. It was a little bit tricky to figure out the layouts, like because I'm not used to doing so much like separate toilet rooms. Like I've done it here and there, but yeah, it was a little weird, but I figured it out in a few seconds, and I definitely wanted it to be like nicer because I feel like at restaurants like this have fancy restrooms, so definitely wanted to use like a feature table that came up with Dine Out and a nice you know, long mirror so they can check themselves out before they head back to their date or whatever. So I figured it out. I made sure it wasn't an awkward setup and that it was easy to access the toilets. And yeah, there we go. I think I just did it. In this area here, nope, I'm working on the front, or just right now I'm just placing like all of the required items for a restaurant lot. That's what I'm doing right now. And working on the chef's room, the kitchen, sorry. And yeah, I placed 2 cooking areas because I felt like a lot of Japanese restaurants, you could see them cooking in the back, so I wanted that one against the wall to be able to be like a cutout so people waiting can like watch them cook if they wanted to. Or you could have 2 chefs in the kitchen if your restaurant is like upgraded to that level. And yeah, it's a pretty cool setup, nothing super special beyond that. And here I am working on just like the whole reception area, figuring that out. So like I said, I wanted there to be plenty of waiting spaces. Hopefully they don't have to use them, but I feel like they would have that here. So I gave them 2 benches right when they walk in, and then if there's overflow, they can sit on the couches by the restrooms, or just, you know, chill over there while they're waiting for the restroom to open up or whatever. I feel like that was a little bit more realistic, so that's what we did there. And I love the new like fluffy rug that we got with Snowy Escape, so I definitely used that. I used it twice, right at the entrance and then at the waiting room, and that poof is really cute. I had to put it there too. And I put some magazines, like a magazine rack there, but then I ended up deleting it and I just kept 1 magazine out on the coffee table, which as I place tested it, I found that they all gravitate towards it right away. So I definitely had to keep moving it back for, you know, the tour. I don't even know if it ended up staying through the tour or not, actually, now that I think about it. But here I am moving on to the dining area. And as you can see here, I don't have a Zen garden inside yet, because I'm just figuring out the whole vibe, and right now I'm just feeling like there needs to be something special in the center, so I put that Japanese table at a lower level and some nice romantic lantern lighting around it. But I thought it was a little weird to have that as like the feature point, because I feel like those should be like a more private space. I don't know. And also, again, it's not really like fully usable as the restaurant feature, so people were just basically like sitting there as like a couch instead. So I swapped it out for a Zen garden in the end, and you'll see me do that in a little bit. But I really liked the fancy like linen tables in here, linen covered tables in here versus more wood, because there's just so much of that wood in here. I wanted to make it feel a little bit more of like a nice restaurant and just, you know, not overuse that wood so much. And I also wanted to make it feel like a more private area while also using those, you know, wooden things that are at the top there in the entryways to the dining areas. I'm so sorry, I don't know what those are called, but I really like those. So I definitely wanted to use those as the archways to the waiting area and the dining area, but it still felt too exposed. Like people waiting could just be staring you down while you eat. So I felt like that was a good place to put the screen and tie in more of the Japanese vibe. So that worked well there. And here I just switched the walls up again, and I just liked how warm it felt as soon as I did. So I think this is the wall. These are the walls that came with Dine Out. So still trying my best to stick out to those 2 main packs. But yeah, I'll upload it to the gallery and double check that it has just those 2 packs. I'm not quite sure. I probably used a few like decor items from smaller packs, but those are the most important packs, at least for this build. And yeah, I still use the traditional walls inside this like VIP Japanese seating area because I felt like it fit well. And yeah, so the main dining area is the only one with the other walls to differentiate that area. And here I am. I just thought that the back side of this build was a little too plain, and so I'm just adding in another Zen garden here, and I think it's super cute how it turned out and just adds just enough to the interest to the back area. Oh yeah, all of those lines are actually from Eco Lifestyle, I believe, because I was looking at inspiration photos for Japanese restaurants, and a lot of them had those lines like incorporated in the interior, especially for the modern ones. So many of those lines. So definitely wanted to incorporate that in this build. And you can see I have two of my Sims there just chilling as I redo the center area, so ignore them. But yeah, making this into a nice Zen garden center feature. So like I said, no matter where you sit in this restaurant, you got a nice view. So I thought that was really nice, because I did see in another inspiration photo, like at the entrance of the restaurant was just basically like a glass enclosure of a giant Japanese tree, like a cherry blossom tree or something like that. And I thought that was really neat. But yeah, so I just tied in the Zen gardens from outside onto the interior, and feel like it works so much better than the sunken Japanese seating area. So I thought it was just a little bit more interesting, and here I am just swapping out those tables on the outside like I mentioned before, and adding some more candlelight because that just adds to the vibe out there. And that's a wrap. Let me know what you think in the comments below, like and subscribe if you haven't already, and until then, enjoy the tour and we'll see you next time.